What is going on, everybody? It's Black Apino the Apple Guy here, and today I'm going to be talking about the Sigma 16mm f1.4, which I happen to be shooting on my a6400. Now, this video is going to be for anyone who owns an a6400 or who owns any of the a6000 lineups. This is specifically for the APS-C censored cameras, which aka would be all the a6000 lineup. Now, I did an unboxing of the camera, and I also did a comparison between, I did an unboxing of the lens, and I also did a comparison between the 16mm and the 30mm in terms of which is like the best when it comes to vlogging. So I didn't really do too much of an in-depth kind of a review on it. Just wanted to show you the bare basics between the 30mm versus the 16mm in terms of what works best for you. But I personally prefer the 16mm because it just gives you just the right amount of bokeh. As you can see, the background is a little bit blurry. It also gives you a great depth of field, so it may not look like that much, but it actually does do a pretty good job of kind of separating me from the background. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to take it outside. I'm just going to kind of just talk a little bit about the lens and what my future plans are with this camera, because I'm actually looking at probably buying one more Sigma lineup lens. I'm not really sure yet. I've already owned the 30mm as well as the 16mm. Could I be getting a 56mm? Who knows? I also might be getting another Sony camera. So we're just going to kind of talk about that, but we're actually going to be doing this outside so you can get a kind of a much more greater sense of what you would get with this type of a lens when you're out and about doing any type of daily vloggings. So now I'm walking around with the Sigma 16mm attached to my a6400. Now, keep in mind that neither lens nor camera is OSS. That basically just means optical steady shot. That means that there's no stabilization in either the camera or in the lens. So depending on your vlogging style, if you're very good at holding it handheld, that might work. Otherwise, it's just easier just to excuse the loud noise. There's a guy over here that's doing some lawn maintenance. But if you just buy a simple just tripod. So right now I have this on a Joby Gorilla tripod. It's a 3K version. So it's more than capable of holding this camera. And again, if you hold it out, the lens is not heavy at all. The lens is pretty light on this camera. So you don't have to worry about having to worry about weighing it down on your hands. So I also have an ND filter on this, which is made by, I think it's Hoya. It is a 67mm is what this one would be attached to for this lens. So depending on where you live and how you do your vlogs, ND filter is definitely something I would recommend for this lens. So for me, it's kind of a must because I live in Alaska. So typically around, say March to October, it does tend to get sunny all the time. I wouldn't say all the time, but it's usually around maybe 18 to 19 hours of sunlight. So in terms of that, yes, it does make it very difficult to kind of do any types of vlog, especially if you don't know anything about, ISO, white balance. You usually will just put everything in automatic. And although there's nothing wrong with that, really recommend that when you get your first camera, you want it in manual. That way you can learn pretty much all the aspects of doing your camera, learning your camera. So as I said before, I have this sitting on my Joby tripod, and being a 60mm f1.4, there's more than enough background, as you can see, as compared to my 30mm that I had. Well, that one's a little bit more cropped in because these cameras are APS-C APS-C cameras. So they have APS-C sensors, so they tend to crop in a lot more than a full frame. So a 16mm will be equivalent to like a 24 on a full frame. So yes, you may not get as much of a blurry background, but in terms of just what you're going for, in terms of overall, it's a great pairing with the a6400. And like I said, I did a comparison between the a6400 I did a comparison between the 30mm and the 16mm. And depending on your vlogging style, if this is the kind of vlogging style that you do, then a 30mm would be a little bit more cropped in. That would be more of a kind of a personal kind of, I suppose you could say, a one-on-one style video. But if you're doing those type of videos where you're out and about and you want as much background in the back as possible, especially when it comes to talking about landscapes or just anything in general wise when it comes to that, the 16mm is definitely worth getting. Now, if I sound a little winded, it's because, COVID, and I'm trying to get back into shape. Otherwise, like I said, it's not a heavy lens. On this APS-C camera, it's actually pretty light. I get to do it holding it handheld or just doing it with the jobby, but I find that it's easy to do it on a tripod because, again, the camera and the lens, neither one are OSS. That just basically means, again, optical image stabilization. And that is everything for my review on the Sigma 16mm paired with the a6400. Again, I hope that this video was helpful. If it was, don't forget to smash that subscribe button, hit that bell notification. That way you don't miss content when I drop it. And again, my name is Michael, the Apple Guy, and I'll see you guys in the next video.